Los Altos time this week. Away from the Tequila Valley on the other side of Guadalajara, we visited Tequila Ocho, or is known as Tequilera Los Alambiques. This wasn't our first visit, but the first we got to actually properly document. We are lucky enough to have a great relationship with the distillery, so I reached out to Monse, who is our good friend, and she's in charge of hospitality at Tequila Ocho. She was able to join us in with another group visiting of students from her former school. Now, if you would like to book, you can simply go to the official website of Tequila Ocho, search for the experiences, and make a reservation there. They have experiences both in Spanish and English and have different packages. The basic one doesn't include a tasting and costs 350 pesos per person, but the most expensive one even includes a meal, and the packages in between feature a different compilation of tequilas to taste. Hint, you can find Tequilera Los Alambiques on Google Maps, where they even have direct links to the packages. We were visiting the distillery a year ago when we tried their Blanco lineup. The current tour was aimed at students studying customs, so it didn't include the tasting. However, I strongly encourage you to visit, or if you visit, to choose something with a tasting option, as Ocho is famous for articulating the terroir difference between batches and being able to taste them side by side, which is very interesting and quite unique, to be honest. The distillery is just outside of Arandas, Jalisco. Actually, the distillery is overlooking the town, so at night there is an amazing view from the restaurant. But we talk about it later. So you arrive at the distillery and there's a fairly large parking space for visitors. Right next to the parking lot is the newly built Mexican hacienda style building with the bar, restaurant, and the gift shop. Monza was waiting for us there. Hint, Los Alambiques is a fairly new distillery built only a few years ago. Tequila Ocho was produced in La Alteña, the home of Tequila Tapatio, which we feature in another video. Check it out. But since its production grew, the owners decided it's time to build its very own distillery. Tequila Ocho is quite unique and well prepared, as we even received a small earpiece transmitter so we could hear our guide despite the noisy distillery setting. This is super professional. I don't know why other distilleries didn't adopt this method, especially for bigger groups. So we got our little hearing aid. Then Monse filled us in on the history of Tequila Ocho, the foundations of the brand, Don Tomas Estes, the Camarena family, and invited even questions from the group. Then we went outside to take a look at the surrounding agave fields. Monse even showed us kindly which parcels were owned by Carlos Camarena. Then we went inside and observed the cooking or hydrolysis. We received a very deep explanation as to how it is done at the distillery, and we even got to try the cooked agave. They were delicious. Then a brief explanation of the roller mill process, and we moved to the special wooden fermentation tanks. Here we observed fermentation in different stages, and we were invited to even smell the difference between active and inactive fermentation. Then we went to the stills, where Monse explained us the distillation process, and we got to even try the tequila fresh off the still. The samples we were given had a 59% ABV, and it was delicious. Our group was also asked to identify the different flavors and aromas of the spirit. We spent quite some time here enjoying the tequila and chatting about it. Then we went down to the barrel cellar, where Monse explained us the special aging process for Tequila Ocho. She was even kind to explain us how each batch of aged tequila works. Since this was a tour without a tasting, it ended here. However, if you choose the tour option with a tasting, then there's a nice table situated in the middle of the barrel room where the tasting would take place. Usually we would also visit the bottling facility. At this particular day we didn't, but if you're lucky you get to see how Ocho is even bottled. Then we went to see and document the other amenities. Tequila Ocho not only features a gift shop, but also a bar and a restaurant. The bar is somewhat smaller, but it has a really nice vibe for it, and if you are a Tapatio fan, which is the almost 90-year-old brand of the Camarena family, you can order that as well, not just Ocho. The restaurant is truly beautiful. Not just the decor, which is close to how fancy restaurants are decorated, but you get a wonderful view of the agave fields and arandas through the window. Truly epic. The food is great here, and it's definitely worth giving the place a try, especially if you are a tequila fan. The gift shop is split into two, and they offer a different selection and range of products. Between the two stores, you can find a huge variety. The main feature is Ocho Tequila, of course. I was able to find a few special editions as well as several 2025 Agave Estate editions. They also had special editions from Tapatio, El Tesoro and Villalobos, which were bottles from the La Teña distillery Ocho used to be made at. You could buy pen, pin, chess set, playing cards, bags, t-shirts, barrels, earpieces, bracelets, and all kinds of different bags. So do I recommend visiting Tequila Ocho? Yes, very much. But remember, I am biased. Still, whenever I pay a visit, I keep getting surprised by the passion of our friend Monse. Unlike many tour guides who just grind through the tour, she really cares and is always giving her 100%, which is something we can all appreciate. The distillery hosts Tequila Ocho, which is one of the few tequila brands you should definitely discover and try to see if it is for you or not. Especially visiting Tequila Ocho alongside La Teña, you will connect key pieces of tequila history in the Los Altos region. And the restaurant is one of the best you can find in Arandas. Don't forget to admire the beautiful huge paintings throughout the distillery. Such a nice touch and support for local artists. And while we are at it, it is also worth mentioning that they even organize events for the locals. We had the pleasure to see the Christmas music event they kindly organized.